Tonight on Marriage Without Tears channel, we're going to be looking at how to overcome communication breakdown in your marriage, how to rebuild that trust, and how to bring back that intimacy and joy that pervades the relationship. This is our topic for today. And if you check so many marriages today, you discover that because of a whole lot of pressures here and there, emotional, physical, psychological pressures, sometimes pressures from work, there may come a time when the couples are no longer communicating with one another the way they should. Possibly silence have replaced connection. Somehow words have become weapons, or somehow maybe even the words are now beginning to become difficult to utter. At a point like this, if it is not properly checked, such a breakdown can erode love. It can also undermine trust and intimacy. That is why every couple must do whatever it takes to restore that camaraderie, that kind of intimacy and joy that used to pervade the relationship. So tonight on Marriage Without Tears channel, I am looking at how to overcome communication breakdown in your marriage. Once again, my name is Felix Okeke. I am your marriage counselor and coach. The very first thing you must do, if you must restore communication, that kind of communication that you used to have, is to learn to listen to your spouse, not just with your ears, but with your heart. Let your heart be very willing to understand what he or she is saying. It is very important that you learn how to understand him first, understand her first. Open up your heart. It's not just about the words. It's not about your capacity to respond. No, you are not listening to hear the words and you are not listening to know how to respond. You are listening to know how to understand what he or she is saying. Many of us in marriage, we don't wait to understand what we are saying or what the other one is saying really. Because a lot of us practice what I call half listening. You are doing one thing and your ears are in the conversation. At the end of the day, you don't actually hear or understand what your partner is saying. And he's watching a very interesting football match, and here the wife is speaking to him from the inner chambers, and the two can't work together because the man's attention is drawn to what he's doing. He don't actually understand what the spouse is saying. And when you fail to understand one another deeply, there are bound to be frictions, there are bound to be misunderstandings, and there are bound to be all manner of anger that may actually lead to upsetting the whole apple cart. So, learning how to listen is very important. Learning how to listen. That's the very first thing. The second thing you must also do anytime that there's a communication breakdown is to stop the blame game. The more you blame one another, the more you make the matter worse. Because for every person that you are blaming, that person will always try to find a way of defending him or herself. And in the place of defending him or herself, you can never get the right result. Because when a partner becomes defensive, it becomes difficult to actually be proactive or take the kind of decision or offer the kind of opinion or suggestion that will make the relationship better. No, the reality is that blame game must not be tolerated in your marriage. Your heart must be, how do I make this relationship better? How do I weather this storm? How do I restore the order? That should be your concern, not about who is right or wrong. Because in marriage, either you are all winners or you are all losers. It's as simple as that. So, get your mind away from the blame game. It doesn't matter who started it or who ended it. The most important thing is, let us restore the joyful season. If you can do that, then you get it right. The third thing you must always do is to try as much as possible to control your emotions. The reality is that when we fail to control our emotions and decide to control our spouses, we get it wrong. A whole lot of people, when they are disturbed on the inside, especially emotionally, besides finding who is right or wrong, they try to make their spouses to pay the price for whatever is going on. They begin to make it, they begin to manipulate their spouses. They begin to try to control him or her by the words or certain actions they display. It doesn't always make sense. If you are actually having a problem communicating with one another, controlling one another is even worse. So all you need to do, beyond getting away from the blame game, all you need to do is to step out, take out time, try as much as possible to get a rein on your anger, get a rein on your emotions, because you can't achieve anything by, throwing words at one another. Remember, any word that you throw out that is derogatory, it is difficult for you to get it back because the word has gone out. So instead of speaking words that will undermine your relationship and undermine one another's character and demean one another because you are both angry, no, it is better that you check your anger. Check your anger, control your emotions, and then when the emotions are down, when the temper is down, then you can always utter words that are rich, or words that are defined, words that can make the relationship better. Once again, if you are yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so immediately. There's a red button by my side. Look at it here. Once you click on it, you get subscribed and you become part of this awesome channel. The fourth one I want to let you know actually is try as much as possible to understand one another's love language. Your love language is where that place where once you are touched in that area, everything breaks down in you. There are some people whose love language is words of affirmation. If you discover that your wife or your husband loves words of affirmation, anytime that there is a communication breakdown, begin to fine-tune him, begin to work on him through that area. Tell him, darling, I know that you have been doing a whole wonderful thing in this, trying to keep the marriage, trying to keep us together, trying to keep the family together. You have been doing an awesome job. And honestly, sometimes I feel that the weight is so much on your shoulders. I am sorry I have not, say words that shows that you actually affirm that person, that you actually appreciate the commitments of that person in the relationship. There are people whose, love language is that way. If you discover that that is the way your husband or your wife is built, use that as a point of contact so that you can get him or her to begin to communicate well again. If you discover that if you discover that your spouse's own is quality time, then you can suggest, darling, it appears that we have been under pressure for a while. This weekend, can we travel out together? Let's get to the village, or let's get to London, or let's get to New York, let's get to, Hawaii, let's get to so and so place. Let's check out. Let's leave all these things together. Let's spend some time together alone. Enjoy ourselves. We have been too busy. That person will wake up. It's like you have dropped, something joyful in her pot. She will wake up immediately. She is very happy. There are people whose love language is built on that, quality time. There are people whose love language is built on acts of service, for instance. I've seen a man who, when he discovered that his wife was feeling very bad and was no longer on speaking terms with him, discovering that his wife's love language is acts of service, he decided to wash her laundries. And you may say, oh, that is demeaning. Oh, I will never do that. But the reality is that if it is what the price you have to pay to restore joy in your marriage, what is it about washing her laundries? The man took up and was washing her laundries and spreading it out and whistling. When the wife saw it, oh, everything broke down. Find out what your spouse's love language is. What does he normally love? Some people is just quality touch, physical touch. Somehow you have not been talking, you have not been, you enter your room, your husband is alone with you. You remove your clothes and say, darling, you have not touched me for a while. What is wrong with you? I haven't seen you, have been frowning, you have been doing all manner. What is wrong with you? Come, let's play. What is this and that? Before you know it, that man that has had his face tighten up for all these days and all this, you see smile spread out of his face because he has been touched in the area of his love language. He loves touching. He loves having fun. He loves making love with his wife. So find out what your spouse's love language is, and when there is a communication breakdown, use that as a place of getting him back to normalcy. It's very, very important. It's very, very important. Many people don't understand that, and they mess up things when building it up could have been far, far easier. And finally, I want to say this to you. Always reconnect with your spouse on a daily basis. Don't wait until things have become so terrible, until there is a total breakdown, until the relationship is almost collapsing. Don't wait until you begin to look for other people to come and minister to your spouse. You begin to don't wait until it becomes too difficult for you to break that to break through to him or her. As you wake up each morning, learn how to communicate effectively and effectually with one another. Call one another once in a while. Darling, how are you doing? Where are you right now? What is happening around you? How is your work schedule? I hope it's not too terrible. Thank God. I was just thinking about you. What will you like to eat when you come back from work? Get across to your spouse. Call him or her. If she's the busy one, call her. Darling, how are you doing? Wow. What is going on? How are you doing? I hope you're okay. I hope you're fine. I was just thinking about you. I will be going home around 4 o'clock. Will you be ready? Can I come over and pick you up so that we can go home together? There are things you say. Let communication be frequent. Let it be normal. Let it be a part and parcel of your everyday life. Don't hold back from communicating with one another. If you can only follow these rules, I can tell you that on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, minute by minute basis, there will be free flow of communication between you and your spouse. This is very important. Don't allow it to break down before you begin to reach out to him or her. If you are yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so immediately. Click on this red button by my side. Get subscribed immediately and be part of this channel. I look forward to seeing you next week when we shall discuss another very awesome topic. Once again, my name is Felix Okeke. Have a wonderful time.